Recording in session.
Awesome. Okay. We welcome to the session of this week. This is a Friday meeting for AHF, and here's some quick stats. As of now, we had 58 sessions so far. 92 guest speakers have came here and guided us. 235 members have landed jobs, and we have over 2,500 members on LinkedIn and counting. So far, we have taken $0 from any member, although today we have a sponsorship from the company, Maro. So we appreciate that. We are a nonprofit, and we support people transitioning through their career journey. This is a quick dashboard of how the different social media channels are performing. And with that said, I don't want to take much time and introduce our awesome speaker today. Paul is a veteran advocate, educator, and business development consultant based in Fort Mill, South Carolina. He's currently serving as a senior project manager at Veterans Bridge Home, and he's also adjunct professor at Bellevue University. He specializes in leadership training, sales, and military transition support. I personally looking forward to learn from him. And Paul, if you can you please share one piece of insider knowledge that many job seekers might not be aware of and would be helpful in their job search. Floor
Absolutely.
is yours, Paul.
Thanks, Rahul. I appreciate Accountable Fridays to bring a little hope to everybody. First, that was a great presentation for Maro, right? And you got to ask yourself, did you pass the first test? The first test was you came here about job transition. And when Maro came on, did you lean back and go, well, that's not helpful for me? Because your first test was, could you have learned anything from Jaden on what he was sharing about AI? Because I did. And what I would tell you is stay curious. That was not planned. I just thought I'd say that because I saw myself leaning back. And then I saw what Jaden was sharing and I was going, you know what? AI is real for everything we're doing. Could I get one or two gold nuggets on AI, right? And so good for you, Jaden. Thanks for staying with the 10 minutes. Let me share my little tidbit. You can look up me LinkedIn. I'm not going to say a lot of bit of my credibility, but I'm a veteran and I have been in more transitions than most. What that means is during my time when I was an active reservist, I got mobilized several times and I had to come back. And some of you might be in this place where you're trying to figure out who you are, what's your identity. So what's my one thing? Rahul said, what is your one thing you want to share? This is my one thing I would share. If you want a job for a company, you need to separate yourself from all the other candidates. And you got to think, what is that? Now, some of you are sitting back and going, well, it's what's on my resume. I'm going to tell you that's not going to sell the whole thing. You look at my background, I've been in sales a long time. Well, part of it has been when I was looking for jobs. Whether you all like it or not, you're in sales. What are you selling? You're selling yourself. And how do you separate your product? I'll be a sales guy. How do you separate your product from the other prospects, right? So you're going to say the resume. How many of you remember that movie Legally Blonde? Remember how she did with her resume? She put perfume on it. I don't recommend that. I don't encourage it, but it will get you just so far. All right, and then the interview. That's for another session. I can't go in there with you on the interview, but I'll tell you one gold nugget that I'm going to tell you that you can bring to the interview. And I'm going to say the word and you're going to go, yeah, Paul, shoot. I mean, everyone knows that. But then I'm going to peel it back for you real quick. And then hopefully you'll all have some questions. So number one, you say your resume separate you. No, it won't. Number two is the interview. All right, now what you bring to the interview is yourself. Yes, you can separate yourself from the other guy or gal in the way you interview. That's really good. But the thing I want you to bring with the interview, here's the word. Ready? You've all heard it. You all know it. It begins with an N. Anyone want to say it out loud? Best way of finding a job is what? Come on,
Networking.
Rule.
Networking.
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 Networking. All right, everybody knows this. Networking. All right, now let me peel back the goldest nugget of networking. What does networking mean? Well, this is what I want to tell you. This is what I learned. It's a combination of what I learned in sales and how I sold a product that differentiated from the other guys and gals and their companies and their products. And it's what can separate you from your job hunting. In the networking, I'm going to tell you there are 3 pieces of levels of information. I'm going to try to make this simple, but if you're all sitting in front and you have a piece of paper, or if you want to visualize it in your mind, I want you to visualize the triangle, and I want you to slice it in 3. Slice it in 3, and I'm going to get right to the heart because I know we're short on time. I want to do the Q&As, but I want to make sure you get this. This is stuff you're going to bring to the interview before you even get to the interview, before maybe you even apply for the job. You could be doing this. So let me just use a company, U.S. Bank. All right, I go to U.S. Bank. There's Paul and there's Rahul. I'm going to use Rahul. Rahul, you okay if I use you, right? Rahul and Paul are applying for U.S. Bank. Now at that low level intel, there's the U.S. Bank website, there's Google searches, and there's, let's just say Rahul and I have no derivatives, not even third derivative of anybody at U.S. Bank. So those are 3, but you can go on LinkedIn and you can look a little about U.S. Bank. I'm going to ask you all who has access. Who has access to that data? Rahul? Does Rahul have a step up on me in that access of the websites, the Google searches and LinkedIn? Absolutely not. We both have the same information. If you stop there and you go to, potentially talk to a recruiter or you apply, it's the same thing. You did not separate yourself from Rahul. What's level 2, Paul? Okay, that's where maybe you got second and first derivatives, third, second, first derivatives in, let's just go with second derivatives. And this is other sources that you have that can get you some information about U.S. Bank. This potentially is the father who goes to the soccer game with your family and he works for U.S. Bank. Or maybe he works for a bank that's like U.S. Bank and he knows a little about U.S. Bank, but preferably. So does Rahul have the same access I have at that soccer game? He doesn't go to the soccer game. Do you have the same access? No, those are my friends. In LinkedIn, those are my second and first derivatives. So I need to do a little bit more homework. And what I'm telling you is you all hear about networking and going to events and all that, but do you follow through with that level 2? The other thing, I'll just finish off on level 2, and I tell this to veterans who transition all the time. And some of you folks that are aged, can you remember when there wasn't internet? Do you remember when there wasn't internet? How did you find out information for the company? Well, I was in sales when there wasn't much internet. And I'm not trying to date myself. I'm just saying there wasn't as much information out there that there is today. What did I do? I actually drove down to the company. Now, if you got a company that's nearby that you're applying for, even if it's national, but U.S. Bank has a footprint, I'm encouraging you at the level 2. We're not at level 1 yet. At level 2, you want to separate yourself from Rahul. If I go down the U.S. Bank and I go into their lobby, I know I'm not going to get very far security. And I've done this and I have won. I could tell you stories of places I've won. I've won big. I didn't go in there with high expectations and I met some things. I saw some things. I was going for a veteran job and I saw this plaque out in front of the company that said, hey, we hire, something about a veteran kind of flavor. And then I go inside the lobby and they had a plaque that they won some award. So the level 2 is, and if Rahul doesn't go down to U.S. Bank headquarters or whatever, the local U.S. Bank, he's not going to get the same information. Now, this is what I tell you. Here's the warning sign. Let's say you got 30 employers that you're applying for. You cannot do this work with 30 employers. I want you to make the short list of 7 or 10. No more than that. You don't have the bandwidth. You're saying, Paul, that's a lot of work. You're darn right it's a lot of work. Job hunting is work. So that's just level 2. I want to separate myself from Rahul. Now I'm going to give you the level 1 networking. That's where I actually know somebody, either first derivative, maybe second, but we'll say first derivative that at that high level standard. Now, I've already been through the website stuff. Rahul's got the same access. He's got some networks too, so he's probably got a little bit of the same kind of soccer game, golf buddies, whatever. He might be able to get in the US Bank. My guess is he's not putting it as much in as I am. But that last gold standard would be I actually have first derivatives, and I've reached out to a couple, 2, 3, 4 people that work at US Bank, and I go, hey, let's see, I'll use Lawrence as an example. And Lawrence works at US Bank, not in my area that I'm applying for. But I say, hey, Lawrence, I really appreciate what you do at US Bank and all that. Hey, I'm trying to get in there. I'm a layoff from Wells Fargo. And would you be able to carve out 10 minutes and just chat with me about US Bank? Okay. If you do level 2 and 1 right, and you do enough of that, you go to recruiter or your first interview, you tell me how your story would be different than Rahul if Rahul stopped at level 3. I'm going to tell you, you'll blow him away. Well, yeah, no, I appreciate you asking that, Mr. Interviewer. You know what? I chatted with Lawrence the other day, who was in compliance, and he told me a little about this in US Bank and this and that and all that. They're going to walk out of that interview going, oh my gosh, Paul did his homework. And Paul did more homework than Rahul. And they sit back, and you got to be likable. That's why I can't go in there with the interview. I can't tell you to smile. I can't tell you to watch your posture. I can't tell you about leaning in and curious. I mean, I can tell you, but I can't be in there with you. But what I can tell you is do your homework. And in sales, I never had to sell a darn thing when I got smart about this, because I did my homework and I went in there. I already knew what the challenges were. I asked great questions and I stayed curious. This whole Maro thing, I got curious and I wrote a couple notes down there. I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't know this about AI. This is pretty cool. Oh, wow, I could do this. Anyway, I'm going to stop there. You stay in that level 2 and level 1. You pick a little bit, go down to the organization, go into LinkedIn, ask those people. And if some of you, before I end, if some of you are on the other side going, Paul, I don't see myself do this. Paul, I couldn't do this. I'm going to tell you that if people did it to you and asked you for a favor and asked you if you had 10 minutes, because they were kind of a referral, second derivative. Lawrence is a friend of Rahul's and said, hey, would you talk to Rahul? My guess is everyone in this call would say yes. 90% anyway, if you had bandwidth and you try to carve out time, because I'm not saying my time. I'm saying, hey, if you have 10 minutes, you pick the time. I'm going to end there. That's my gold nugget, which is, okay, don't worry about the resume. Resume's good. Get it halfway. That's fine. Don't pay for professional. I don't think you need all that. But you got to network, and you got to network in the level 2 and 1. Done. I hope I opened up some can of worms, because bring it on. I've been doing this a long time, and I've been teaching people to do it. How was that, Rahul?
Oh my God, I cannot stop taking notes, Paul. And there was so many gold nuggets just put in on there, right? You started with the legal blonde, like spraying a perfume on the resume, and you told us and taught us today how to spray that virtual perfume on our digital resume and our interview process. So really appreciate you sharing all these gold nuggets to us. Years and years of all this experience just pours in through your through your guidance here. So I appreciate your time today. And I will open up to Q&A if that's okay with you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you so much for being here this week. Yeah.
Yes. I hope I tantalized some folks, because you are selling yourself.
Awesome. Can we stop recording?